Hello everyone and welcome back to the Pit and Paddock Race Show. We'll start off with Formula One. They were in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix, where it was back to the Red Bull show with Max sailing to another win. Lando coming in second and Lewis Hamilton getting a nice podium in third.
Yeah, Lando had the pole, but he flubbed it when Russell shot around the outside in turn one and took the lead, and Lando wasn't sure what to do.
That was... Well, I didn't expect Russell to get that jump like that. That was actually pretty exciting.
He said he was inspired by Fernando Alonso.
Just hold the throttle down and go for it.
Yeah. But Russell only lasted for like 2 laps, and then Max took the spot back.
That's barely longer than Liz Truss lasted as Prime Minister.
About as long as the Conservative Party's got left
Oh, yeah.
in power. Yeah, Norris was supposedly the fastest car, spent the rest of the race trying to claw his way back to the lead, and if he hadn't had such a cock-up at the start, we might have had an actual battle for the win. But he didn't, because he screwed up. I don't know, was it Russell that threw him off? Because Norris took off from first, covered off Verstappen, and then somehow fell back into third.
I didn't catch where he, other than the start, which he probably could have gotten a little bit better, but so could Max. He really didn't make that many. I didn't notice a mistake during the race. Did you catch anything?
Just in the start, I think he must have backed off a little bit when Russell shot past him, and then Max took advantage of it, and then he fell back. But he eventually clawed his way back up to second. He was gaining on Verstappen, so if he hadn't lost all that time in traffic at the beginning, he probably would have been right up there with Verstappen for a good race.
Maybe next week. Lewis had a bit of a dodgy overtake on Sainz, where the announcer said there was definitely some rubbing involved, but some would say that's racing. That was my favorite quote from the broadcast.
It was Chanduk, so you got to do it like, there was some rubbing involved, but that is racing.
Canceled.
Canceled? Oh yeah, we're canceled.
Canceled.
Yeah, you should probably cut that, or I'm sure YouTube will cut us. That was Lewis's first podium of the season.
Seems like he's had one before, but that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I went back and looked, but not that hard, and that's what it looks like. But is that where he went and just laid down on the couch, and then Max made fun of him after the race?
I was taking a nap.
He is getting elderly by Formula One standards. It was a mediocre day for Ferrari. They finished where they started in 5th and 6th.
I liked Leclerc's message on the radio. Like, why are we still on Plan A?
But they didn't play Ferrari's response of, because we are Ferrari.
That's...
We are checking.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We got a strategy, we'll mess it up. Well, the Ferrari obviously is not a high-speed track car.
What's sad is that reportedly they brought their Imola upgrades to this race so that they could be more competitive on a high-speed track.
Did they?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so Imola, which is the Italian Grand Prix, not looking so promising. But they got a few weeks to fix something.
Is that one? Oh. I hope they get something. That's usually one of their better tracks, but I don't see that happening this time.
Yeah, Imola's a high-speed track. They haven't been so good at Imola for like the past 2 formulas.
Well, Sainz already has his foot out the door there in Maranello. After he rubbed Leclerc on that early pass. Oop, that sounds weird. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way. It was...
That's okay.
After banging Leclerc, no, that's not. Bumping Leclerc for that early pass. He was told to hold position and save tires.
Yeah. So Leclerc later said, "I guess he wanted to impress at his home race, given the moment in his career."
Wow, that's quite a shot.
They're starting to get a little tired of each other.
They seemed to be fairly friendly for the most part, but that's sort of drifting away.
Well, they're both from other countries, so you can just put it down to English is not my first language. That's not what I really meant.
That's always a good excuse.
So, I mean, there was excitement for second place on back, but we keep hearing it's a four-way race for the Constructors' Championship. I don't know. Is that really true?
It feels like Red Bull has been caught, and I think just Max is the only reason that they're staying on top. Just judging by his teammate Perez, who is showing up. Well, what does he finish, like 8th to 12th every race now?
How did he get a contract extension?
I don't know. Immediately after, he just dropped 5 positions in every race.
How did they not? I'm surprised Red Bull didn't take signs, because he was a Red Bull driver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then they picked Verstappen over him, and then he ends up at Ferrari somehow.
I mean, I don't know. Max. I always knew he's a good driver, but if he's able to lift that car up,
oh yeah,
like that, then that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, early in the season, Perez was qualifying second or third all the time.
He was right behind him.
Yeah,
and then, unless they've switched what they're doing with the cars or something, but I don't see why they would do that. And he would be that far back. They still need team points.
Well, it's definitely a lot closer. It's not like last year where it was just Red Bull sails away in every race.
At least you can watch the whole race most of the time.
Both Alpines finished in the points at 9th and 10th. No one was more surprised than Alpine. Are Alpine finally where they should be? 5th place in Constructors?
That seems better than expected after the start they had to the season.
I mean, they're a works team for now. You would expect them to be in the top half.
They should be, yes. But, yeah, well, it seems like they're finally getting stuff together.
They're working it out.
And, was it Ocon has gone after this season?
Yeah, I've heard everything from Sainz now might go to Alpine. Alpine's making a play for Sainz. And also Mick Schumacher, which I don't see Mick Schumacher in a Formula One car.
Sainz seems like he's a little more able to get the finish better than Mick.
Yeah, he's one of the drivers that is as good or better than his father, which, like, Max is one, Sainz might be one that's better than his dad was. That's about it. I mean, when you look at the history, like Andretti, they just kind of dropped off every generation. Foyt wasn't even close.
Oh no, he went to NASCAR too.
Yeah,
and wasn't that good.
Ray Hall's not as good as his dad was. I mean, so it doesn't. But Verstappen's an outlier, and Sainz maybe too. Although his dad never actually raced Formula One, he was always off road, right?
Yes, rally and off road. Oh, poor Dale Jr.
Oh yeah, never as good as his father.
So, rumors saying that the engine manufacturers are going to be making their own bio-waste fuel for 2026?
Yeah, that's in the works for 2026, but it's not finalized yet. The current formula, which isn't final, they're supposed to have 100% sustainable fuel for 2026, and then they're supposed to be completely carbon neutral by 2030.
Oh, really? So, biofuel for 2026, and then they should be running off dilithium crystals by 2030?
Yeah, because that's how you're going to be carbon neutral. By the way, carbon neutral means that you're not adding any carbon to the atmosphere, so you're taking it out and then putting it right back.
So you're just recirculating the carbon?
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that. Probably dilithium.
So does this account for all of the yachts owned by the drivers and teams, or
jets? No,
jets?
But all the diesels are going to run biodiesel.
Oh.
So all the trucks.
Well, that should solve everything then.
There's no bio-aviation fuel yet. No solar panel planes that can actually carry things yet. So, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Let's just spend a lot more money and change absolutely nothing.
Or they could change the schedule around so that they go to one continent at a time and don't crisscross.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. It's probably going to be like, most of Europe who said they're going to be completely green by a certain year, and then they're like, we're going to put that on hold for a little bit now that we realize no one actually wants to pay for that in our country.
Well, I want to see the team that puts a nuclear reactor in their car. That would be fun.
Well, yeah, that would work. I mean, you don't have to use weapons-grade plutonium. You can just use... I mean, what's the worst that can happen? A car could crash and you could expose the core and radiate all the people at the track.
Oh, well, just don't let Haas have it.
Yeah, don't let Mick Schumacher drive that car.
Keep it away from Stroll.
Oh, yeah. Stroll, you cannot have the nuclear engine upgrade. Grading the race, I gave this one the 6 of 10. There's plenty of excitement for second place, but in the end, it was another sail away Max race.
Once again, I'm of a similar mindset, but I gave it a 5 out of 10 because I was watching with a group of people and they kept asking me questions. It's not really the race's fault, but I'm still going to grade it a 5.
How did you get the race on vacation?
I brought my Roku stick and signed into someone's YouTube TV and watched it on ESPN.
Oh, nice. You couldn't, did you have Wi-Fi up there?
Barely. Enough to stream one thing at a time.
Oh.
So you had to be cautious with it.
My Starlink works really good up in the mountains.
I couldn't get F1 TV signed in. I don't know
No.
why, but so I just went with ESPN.
Starlink, well, last year they came out with the RV Starlink, so you could actually drive around with it. Now they have a backpack Starlink. So
How big is it?
it's like the size of a backpack. You just pop the satellite dish out and get Starlink wherever you're at.
Well, that'll be great for live streaming all my hikes.
Yeah. Or, being at the race and you don't have the right phone service, so NASCAR shuts down your Wi-Fi unless you sign up for life, and so you could just pop out your
Thankfully,
backpack.
they used to do that when Nextel was the sponsor. If you had a Nextel phone, you could access everything, but if you did not, you'd get no signal.
Yeah, I think I had an AT&T phone back then, and there was like, my girlfriend at the time was like, you didn't contact me for 3 days. I'm like, there's no signal. Yeah, blame Nextel, or whatever they used to be.
That's on them.
Barcelona, where the Spanish Grand Prix is at, maybe on the outs. My sources tell me it's contracted for 2 more years of F1 races, but the owners haven't upgraded the track since Napoleon came through, so F1 doesn't want to go back there.
Oh, I wonder which monarchy or dictatorship will offer up millions of dollars for a street race to replace it.
Probably Jeff Bezos.
the Amazon headquarters street race.
Yeah, that way he can have something honest for the Washington Post to cover. Wait, is it the Washington? Yeah, it's the Washington Post, right?
Compost? Washington Compost.
The Washington Compost, yeah.
That's too bad. I mean, Barcelona's a solid track.
Yeah.
And it's not a street course, so that's always a plus.
Well, they have the other Spanish Grand Prix this year. That one's in the Spain part of Spain, not the Catalonia part of Spain.
Okay.
So this one is more like the Catalonian Grand Prix, I would call it, not the Spanish Grand Prix. Spanish Grand Prix is down in, I don't know, somewhere else down there.
Spain.
If you go far enough, you hit Gibraltar and they speak English.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah. When I went to Spain after, mangling Spanish for like 4 days, trying to get my way through there, and then we go to the Rock of Gibraltar and everybody's British.
Oh.
And they have fish and chips and you can understand them.
I'll just stay here.
Yeah. Next up, the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring this coming weekend. 2.68 mile track, 71 laps, 190 miles. That's like what, 250 kilometers. I'm not doing math.
I don't know.
Is this another Red Bull track?
It is literally owned by Red Bull, if that's what you mean.
Is that why they have the big bull on the center of the track?
Yeah, Red Bull bought it and refurbished it in, I don't know, 2014-ish.
Yeah.
But the actual track, though, is it's more of a balanced track, but the thin air requires a higher downforce setup. So Ferrari and Mercedes might be able to dominate. But
So another Max win?
yeah, most likely a Max win, yes, that's right.
All right, we're on to IndyCar, where Palou...
Payao.
I just call him Caillou. Everybody knows it's Caillou. Caillou wins the Monterey GP in his Alphabet Soup car, with Herta in second and Rossi in third. Not Valentino Rossi.
No.
The other Rossi. The California Rossi.
The former Formula One driver Rossi.
Oh, that's right.
I think that's Caillou's third win of the season, if you count the thermal race.
No one counts the thermal race.
I don't count the thermal race either. Until next season, when you have to.
Yeah. Are they really going to stick with that?
I think they just pushed out the schedule as fast as they could so that Fox could sign up. Kyle Kirkwood started the race off real strong, but eventually ended up falling back.
Because it was an Andretti car?
Yeah, because it was an Andretti car, that's right.
So, it wasn't another Penske win?
No. Newgarden did go off with 2 to go, though. That was very sad and disappointing.
He was pushed past not working for him?
Push to spin, I think, is what they accidentally set up.
The Penske engineers got that one wrong.
It's like, oh no, that one spins back. Oh shoot.
Crap.
Rossi's early undercut pit stop got him the lead, but he couldn't quite keep it for the rest of the race.
Oh, and then on the restart, nobody was going to catch Caillou.
No, he's on another level when he needs to be.
Yeah, they just had his car hooked up pretty good.
Lungegaard did get the Triple Crown, though. He took out a number sign, brake distance sign. He
How many signs?
I don't know.
Like 3 signs?
Most of the signs.
Okay.
All the signs are gone. He pulled a Dukes of Hazzard on the corkscrew, and then he just a regular old-fashioned lunge guard on Armstrong there towards the end of the race.
Maybe he should get a guest spot with Rasputin and Rob, the Beavis and Butthead of IndyCar.
Man.
You know they both crashed out in practice, right? Are both those guys? Are they pay to play drivers? There's no way Rob and Rasputin did a merit drive.
I haven't seen them do much, if anything at all.
They crash. One of them crashes every race, and it's usually both of them.
Not great. Even Lungegaard has not been doing so well recently.
Graham Rahal kept his unlucky title when Simpson decided he was having too much good luck and spun in front of Rahal, taking out both cars. I saw the replay. Like, Rahal had no chance. He's just cruising along, and then boom, there's a car sideways in front of him.
There was, what it looks like he got up on the rumble strips or a little bit off and just shot back across. And, I mean, Graham, left or right at that point, he was not going to miss that car.
You know what, Graham? You know how to avoid that? Be at the front of the pack.
Yes. So it's all Graham's fault for being unlucky. I do want to remind all the Rahal fans to not send death threats to Simpson after that swerve.
That's only for Argentinians.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, no, cancel that. Never mind then.
Yeah, Argentinians do death threats after crashes. I think President Milei said something about a chainsaw.
Oh, chainsaw. So did Limp Bizkit. Anyways.
Yeah. I pack a chainsaw. I like it better when Richard Cheese does that song.
Oh, I miss that guy. I should look that up.
I got to see Richard Cheese live once in Vegas. Like, he was in this little lounge, too, but me and a couple of the motorcycle guys I used to ride with were like, Richard Cheese is coming to town.
He got big after he was in the movie. Was he in Old School? Or he was in... I don't know. He was in a movie, and their band got big.
He was hilarious. And all the bandmates were named after cheeses, like Robert Gouda, and they were funny.
That's dumb.
Well, Grosjean's had his best finish of the year, hanging on to fourth.
That's pretty good for that team, actually.
Yeah, I think that was the team's best finish of the year too, with
Is that
Junkos something,
Hunkos Hollinger?
something like
Is
that.
that their best finish ever?
You know what it might be. Well, when he was with Andretti, Grosjean's was challenging for the win quite a few times,
Yeah.
and then something would always happen, and he'd end up like 12th because he got crashed out, or
A lot of the time it was him being a little too aggressive.
hey, at least he didn't crash into a fence and have the IndyCar burst into flames.
Yes, that's true.
That wouldn't happen if they had dilithium crystals.
What I don't even know what dilithium crystals do.
They make energy. They I don't know. How did the Enterprise, the dilithium crystal, did it make heat and then it was steam generate?
We're getting into a different topic, but I believe they control the matter-antimatter reaction somehow.
And that propels you forward?
And that creates a lot. It controls the energy, or I don't know.
Oh, because if matter hits antimatter, you get a massive energy.
Yes, but so
Okay.
it helps to.
It controls the matter antimatter.
I'll ask someone.
Ask a Trekkie nerd. They'll know. Okay.
Well, the race was already a bit of a mess at the beginning because I'm guessing because Fox took over IndyCar and NBC really didn't care as much about it. Right to the bottom of the priority list. When the race started, since NASCAR was in a rain delay on USA, they put the beginning of the race on Peacock and CNBC. So on the NASCAR side at this time, while the track is literally water drying, they're showing an old NASCAR race instead of having live IndyCar racing on. I don't understand why they would do that.
What channel was the NASCAR race on?
USA, where the NASCAR race was supposed to be ending, and it would go right into IndyCar.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So
NASCAR is drying their track as the IndyCar race starts, and they're showing an old NASCAR race instead of just show live IndyCar. We're just sitting here watching water dry.
Didn't you say last week that somebody lined up all the races exactly perfect?
Yes, and obviously it rained, so
that didn't work.
So what they did, they started NASCAR like an hour early to miss the rain, so it cut off the end of IMSA, and then NASCAR was delayed, so it cut off most of IndyCar. Actually, I think it cut off. I don't think any IndyCar race was on USA, so it was all on Peacock or CNBC. It's not great for the ratings.
So we can blame clouds?
Yes. I'm going to shake my fist at the clouds.
You know, clouds screw up all the climate change modeling too.
How? Isn't that part of the climate? Clouds?
Because in the model they struggled to figure out how to account for clouds because it has such a big effect. Like the margin of error on most climate change models is the cloud factor is more than the margin of error. So, like when they say it could warm by 2 degrees Celsius, well, except if the clouds go this way, then it cools by 2 degrees Celsius, or it warms by 10 degrees. Like the clouds really screw up the model.
So the model's completely useless because clouds exist.
Yeah. Well, it's good for politics to try and get votes.
Oh. How much money do I have to spend for the climate to stop changing?
I don't know, but if we pay enough tax money, the climate will stop changing.
Oh, good. I'm excited for that.
Maybe they're gonna use the money to hire Thanos to come wipe out half the population. That would do it. And cut the pollution down, right?
Can I pick which half? Oh, that's not nice.
No, it's random.
Oh.
You can still kill Spider-Man though.
Okay.
He's kind of whiny. F1 driver Logan Sargent is rumored to be going to Prima IndyCar team next year. Is that a team, Prima?
They are starting next year. They already have Chevy engines lined up, is what I've heard.
And they're going to bring Logan Sargent because everybody knows he's not going to be in Williams Formula One next year.
What? Breaking news, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for Logan to figure out how to run an oval, I guess.
Yep. He could have Mick Schumacher on the team too.
Oh, I think they like their cars.
IndyCar's becoming like failed Formula One driver.
It's like, oh, you guys still have cash? We'll take it. Come on.
Or like Pork Chop, they just want to get him some experience in American road courses.
It can't hurt.
Okay.
Speaking of Teddy Pork Chops, he might be coming back to Indy next year. He was on loan from Sauber, and they want him to get more experience.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So he was a junior driver for Sauber Formula One, like not the reserve driver, but the like F2 driver.
Yeah, he was in F2.
But he's in the Sauber program. Yeah.
Why? How did McLaren decide to grab him? Anyways, that seems odd.
Yeah, why didn't they keep? I mean, Pork Chops wasn't doing that bad, except for crashing into Canapino.
I think they just wanted to get Siegel signed up for the long term. He seemed just because I'm sure someone would have jumped on him for the rest of the year, like a Dale Coyne or a smaller team. So,
especially if Sauber's giving him money to run him for a while.
All right.
Has Siegel crashed in every race he's been in now?
Like he did spin out, but he didn't hit anything.
Oh, okay. That counts as does that count as a crash? An incident. He had an incident.
That's an incident.
Yeah.
He didn't have a chance to crash at Indy because he didn't make it.
He crashed nicely in qualifying.
Oops.
That was a good. He's like, well, I had to do something, so I went for it and broke the envelope.
Ripped it up.
So, what was your standout livery for IndyCar?
Pretty easy this week. I think it was the gold Mobile One that Ray Hall drove. Didn't finish the race, but drove it for a bit.
It did look pretty cool. Even when it was all crashed up.
Yeah.
It looked kind of cool. I like the Euro Pharma car. I think it was Fittipaldi.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out what is Euro Pharma? Is it European farmers protesting climate change taxes, or maybe European pharmaceuticals that want to in on the American Ozempic market?
It's a big market. I assumed it was like a website you go to buy knockoff drugs or something.
Oh, like Silk Road?
Yeah.
Euro Pharma. Well, the next IndyCar race is not until July 7th, where they're at Mid-Ohio, a 2.25 mile track, 80 laps, 180 miles. Why do they name it Mid-Ohio? That seems like a weird name for a racetrack.
That's where Ohio ranks on the best states list, I think.
Ooh, you're being generous, putting Ohio in the middle.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ohio.
Yeah. If it wasn't for oil back in the late 1800s, Ohio would be about as populated as Kansas.
Interesting. That probably would have been better off.
Yeah. That's where the Bushes got their start. Like one of the Bush, like George W.'s great whatever grandfather went to Ohio and worked in manufacturing and made some money.
I already didn't like Ohio, and you're not helping.
Yeah.
Moving on to NASCAR, where Christopher Bell wins the 6 Hours of New Hampshire.
The 6 Hours of USA Today, New Hampshire.
The 6 Hours of USA Today, New Hampshire, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Why is USA Today sponsor a race in
I don't
NASCAR?
know. It came kind of out of nowhere. I've never seen USA Today involved in NASCAR at all, and suddenly here they were. The first two stages were pretty standard New Hampshire, dominated by the Gibbs cards.
I just noticed that Logano's spotter sounds like an auctioneer, and they kept putting him on the.
Oh yeah, they did that, like they were following the whole crew around for the second stage.
Yeah.
And they would cut to his audio, and he's.
Oh, he sounds like he's like 2 wide, 2 wide, 2 wide. Do I hear 3 wide, 3 wide over there, 3 wide over here, 3 wide in the back? Do I hear 2.5? Yeah, he sounded like he just kept talking constantly.
And it was like what the cars behind him were doing, what line they were. There was so much. I feel like at some point I would have been like, "Okay, hush, trying to drive the car here." It's like having a backseat full of kids asking, "Are we there yet?"
I wanted to hear Logano's response, but they didn't play that.
No. Hey, oh, I'm sorry, I had you on mute the entire time. What was that? It was...
What did you... Can you say it again?
So after a fairly standard first two stages, everyone, including the weather, lost it in stage 3, which accounted for 11 of the 14 total cautions during the race.
Man, 14 cautions. It's like an early IRL race, the Indy Racing League.
That's generous.
Yeah. They moved the race forward to avoid the rain, but then the rain hits in the third stage.
Yeah. With about 82 laps to go, which after the second stage they could call the race if they want to. But they did not because they have the wet tires now. So after a 2-hour delay and sort of half drying the track a little bit, they threw on the wet tires.
How hard was it raining? I didn't watch it live because I watched the replay.
There was a good downpour for maybe like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
Which I would guess if they didn't have the wet tires, they probably would have called it right there. And everyone would have been gone. So they throw the wet tires on. And, well, NASCAR kind of turns into the nanny state of tires, dictating what the teams can and can't do every step of the way, which is kind of annoying.
Dude, the wet weather tires, put them at like half speed, because it looked like they're running old IRL motors in those things. Like everybody's creeping around the track.
I want to guess a lap is like 40% less throttle than a dry track, because that... I would like to see the throttle. Like, I'm sure they're on and off that whole turn. That must look pretty interesting.
Oh, Chastain did a really nice pirouette in there. It looked like it was a double Lutz with a kowtow.
Oh, he's preparing for the Olympics coming up, I bet.
It was a nice one. That was a really nice spin.
Once the rain came and the wet tires came on, Christopher Bell pretty much pulled away from everyone and held off everyone in a late overtime restart.
Do you notice his picture when they throw it up? He looks like he should be taking karate lessons from some Japanese gardener that used to be a karate master.
Well, wax on, wax off.
He does. He looks just like the Karate Kid in that shot. Plus, he looks about 14.
Yes. Like, he's been in the series for like 6 years. How old? He's like
20
something. He still looks 14.
He got a haircut and he looked 12.
They should make him grow a... Oh, he probably can't.
Oh, grow a mustache or a beard.
Yeah.
He'd look good with a Dale mustache. That 80s, like broom mustache that Dale Sr. had.
Just
talk about the wet weather tires. What was good and what was bad?
Well, positives. They can get a race going that would otherwise be canceled, or they can get the race started earlier if there's going to be some sort of delay. Watching the race, that restart, the track just opened up like all the way from the grass all the way up to the wall. I don't know, 5 or 6 wide cars on that first turn. They
were running down on the apron.
Nobody knows what to do. They're like, well, I'll just see if this works.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. Like on track, it was perfect. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It's better than most of the races with dry tires.
It gives drivers that don't really have a chance on slicks to actually get up in the front, just like F1.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Nemechek.
I did notice once the runs start, you start getting part of the tracks dry.
Yeah.
That's when you see the dirt drivers start to move up. Bell, so you know how they have to follow the cushion around the dirt track?
Yeah.
So you see like Bell and Larson and like Chase Briscoe, all the guys who drove sprint cars are the ones that start moving up.
My man Gilligan did make it up to 4th in wet weather tires, but then he slowly faded back and finished in his usual mid-pack where he belongs.
He moves up a little bit.
Yeah.
So some of the negatives, which are all mostly NASCAR's fault. They set up non-competitive pit stops with the wet tires because they're afraid pit road could be dangerous.
So everybody has. What did they throw a yellow and then everybody has
Throw
to
a
pit?
yellow, everybody pits,
Yeah.
and then it's you take whatever position you came in. But that's kind of annoying. NASCAR dictating when the tires are changed from wets back to slicks, or if you're taking wets again. So they're gonna during this race they threw the caution, and they told everyone's coming in and taking slicks or no tires. Another issue I have is NASCAR dictating when the tires are changed to slicks or when they have to change tires. So they'll throw the caution, and they'll tell everyone change the tires, or we're not changing tires this time, or we're changing to slicks now. Which, I don't know. Once they call the race is wet, everyone changes to wets, then it should be up to the teams to decide when they need to change back to slicks, like everyone else does.
This shouldn't surprise you. Don't you remember what it's like being at a NASCAR race? Oh, you can't wear shorts here. Oh, you got to wear flips. You got to go over here. Like they were pretty fascist about how you have to behave.
They do love their rules.
Yeah. They do. It's almost like it's a European series.
I know. That's gross. And the last one is it's kind of annoying. I think they take a little too long getting the track dry. They could probably go a little earlier on that. I don't know. Move it along. We can go on a partially wet track. We don't have to dry the whole thing off for the wet tires. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, these are the top stock car drivers in the world. So, and the best engineers, crew, chiefs, data. I mean, they can figure this out. When to go to wets, when to not. I mean, let them choose. But NASCAR loves its rules and making everybody follow rules.
Also, doing the non-competitive pit stops during a race, that's pretty gay. How have F1, IndyCar, and sports car pit crews survived so long making pit stops in the wet? The pit crews they're good at their job, and they'll adapt, and they'll be able to handle it.
Is that NASCAR's worry that, somebody's going to get hurt doing a pit stop when it's wet? Even though everybody else has been doing it for pretty much since the beginning of racing.
Exactly. And then, get the cars back on track earlier instead of sitting around. If there's too much spray, have a wiper ready to put on, or the mud flaps that keep the spray down. The track will dry a lot faster with 35 stock cars running around on it.
Well, they have fenders. It's not like open wheel.
Yeah, a good amount of it stays in the car.
Yeah, open wheel, you've got gobs of... I mean, there's so much spray in Formula One when they run out on wets that the drivers are pretty much... If you're not in the front, you're driving by memory because you can't see anything. And NASCAR's got fenders. It can't be that bad.
No.
And they can put windshield wipers on.
That's what they do with the road courses. Kyle Busch still cannot catch a break. I lost count of his spins around 3.
I think I counted 4. Is he...
Did he get a 4th?
Is he Kyle the Unlucky or Kyle the Unskilled?
I think he's not in a good car.
Is it the car that bad? Who's his team now?
Childress. His teammate is Austin Dillon.
Didn't Childress used to be a good team a long time ago?
Well, until Dale Earnhardt left.
Yeah.
Even with Harvick a little after, they were still fairly decent.
Yeah.
Last year he won 2 races, so I don't know. This is just a big drop-off this year.
All right, what was your favorite paint scheme this week?
Well, I'll steal the Gilligan Grillo's pickle car because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it said pickle on it really big, didn't it?
I think that one takes over the peanut car. This year.
I want to go with number 41, Priest, sponsored by the Mohawk tribe. So it's good to see the original owners of the track's land support the race.
Oh, what happened to their land?
White people took it.
Oh, they should have built a wall.
Yeah, they should have built a big wall along the Atlantic Ocean to keep all the white people out. Actually, I think it's Mohawk carpets, but it'd be cooler if it was the Mohawk tribe. I think the Mohawks were in that area, that kind of New Hampshire, New York.
Yeah.
It
was weird of them to name their tribe after a hairstyle, though. Interesting.
Yeah. Some of the other paint schemes.
Brad Keselowski had the Red Sox on his car. Boo the Red Sox.
Why would he have Red Sox? Boston Red Sox?
Roush Fenway is a part owner who owned the Red Sox and the team.
Oh, so it wasn't Brad's choice.
No. Well, no, it was not.
I kind of like the number 77 Delaware Life car. That's a rehab program for people trying to transition out of the thug life.
Straight to Delaware.
Yeah,
that's where you make the move to the white collar crime there.
Yep, that's where Biden's going to go after his presidency's over. Back to the Delaware life.
So this might be my favorite weird paint scheme of the year. Kaz Grala's number 15 Meat and Bone car. What is going on here? This sounds like the name of a gay bar. I don't...
Or a dating app.
Yes. Someone approved this and went like, yeah, that's a good sponsor.
It literally says Meat and Bone on the side.
Meat and Bone. I can't... I hope... Do they sell that one? I would buy the little die cast of it.
Or a sticker. We got to get a Meat and Bone sticker.
I don't want that on my car.
Yeah. Right next to the rainbow.
Oh.
The build subs for Australia car was on track again because, U.S. debt isn't high enough. We need to build some subs for Australia.
Free subs for everybody.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe in the number 14 car had Zeps as a sponsor. It absolutely hideous, weird blue and yellow colors. I don't even know what Zeps is. It's a stupid name.
Stenhouse in the 47 Kleenex car, which what you said, it looked like your grandmother's couch.
Like, where are they going? Why did they color it like grandma's couch?
I thought, I think it was designed by Mrs. Rizzle's third grade class.
Is that a Magic School Bus reference?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It
does look like her dresses, too.
I know. It had flowers and stuff all over it.
What the hell is this?
I think it's supposed to be like pollen and things that make you sneeze, maybe?
No. It looks, I would say, grandma's couch.
Have you ever seen a Kleenex car before? I've never noticed Kleenex being an actual sponsor.
No, I haven't. That's interesting.
Kleenex is one of those things that, the name of the product actually became the name of, it's actually a tissue, but everybody calls it a Kleenex.
They jumped on the branding first.
Yeah.
Coming up next week.
It's always next week for NASCAR.
That's right. There's an Olympic break for 2 weeks, I think, this year. That's good. I don't even know what we're going to do.
We'll cover sprint racing in the Olympics instead of NASCAR.
Yeah. Do another lap, you lazy bums.
Yeah. We'll cover track and field that week.
Interesting. Lee Diffie will be there. Nashville, coming up next week. A 1.33 mile concrete oval. Pretty interesting track. That'll be 300 laps for 399 miles.
That's the same track that Indy's going to race at.
Yes, right? The season finale will be at this same track.
Is that the only concrete track that we have, or is the...
NASCAR has a couple.
Is the Monster Mile?
Dover and Bristol are concrete.
Concrete costs more than asphalt.
That's interesting. I don't know what their reasoning was to use it at the track.
It lasts longer than asphalt. Asphalt starts coming apart after a few years. Concrete lasts, especially if you do that like a thick freeway concrete, like 12-inch thick with reinforcing bar every 8 inches.
I like when the track wears out. It makes for better racing.
Yeah. They could just put stickum all over the surface when it gets slippery. I bet you they can't do wet weather tires on a concrete track, though. Concrete's pretty slippery.
Yeah, I don't think they have that option for Bristol or Dover. No.
I mean, asphalt's got a lot more crevices to it, so you get a lot more grip. Concrete, unless they do like that broomed finish like they do on freeways, there's kind of a grooved finish on concrete freeways.
I think it has that grooved finish.
Yeah, that'll give you a lot more grip. But if it's like regular concrete, then you could just like spray some WD-40 on the turns and watch people do spins. Other racing? Was there anything else?
The IMSA 6 Hours of the Glen was on Sunday. Porsche ended up winning that race.
Yeah, I heard the Cadillac drivers complaining they didn't have enough power to challenge Porsche.
Oh, maybe they could hire some Penske engineers?
That'll get them some extra power. That wasn't the Penske Porsche team, though, was it? Because that would explain things.
No, not the.
It's the other Porsche team. In the they don't call them prototype cars, the hypercars.
So, what are the? Oh, they switched back to. What are they in IMSA? Daytona prototypes or something?
Oh, they call them Daytona prototypes.
There's a different. There's a different formula for both. They have to switch.
Is it World Endurance that calls them hypercars?
Yeah. And
then IMSA calls them Daytonas or prototypes?
The Daytona prototypes. I'm not really 100% sure on the differences between the two.
They could just bring those two series together and then split it up like in football you have like an East and a West, or like an American and a National Conference. You have all the same rules, but you have an American and a European conference, and then they come together once in a while.
That would be for the two, like, 24-hour races, or...
Yeah, a couple of the big races.
That would be fun.
Yeah, but just make sure all the rules are exactly the same.
That's the tough part.
Oh, yeah, especially when you're dealing with Europe. That's it for the week. Come join us next week. We'll have at least 2 races, Formula One and NASCAR.
Indy and NASCAR. Wait, no, Indy is skipping.
Yeah, Indy's out next week. Ray Hall's got to rebuild that car after he crashed another one, or he got crashed another time. But yeah, we'll have 2 good races, and then we'll find some dirt on something.